told your friend you're not okay.
Hello K-pop news fam, are you ready for a story that shows how one name can drive cross-border economies? A story that not only shook the entertainment industry, but also sparked a major breakthrough in the world of international business. If you think K-pop only influences music or fashion trends, wait until you hear what's happening now. This isn't just brand ambassador news, it's a global phenomenon that is shaping a new history. A few days ago, on Monday, February 16th, a report from ABS-CBN News made many people pause. Compose Coffee, a South Korean coffee brand that chose Kim Taehyung, BTS, as their official face, announced a big step, opening their first international franchise in the Philippines. Yes, the first country to become their global gateway. And believe me, this was not a random decision. Compose Coffee, which was initially known as a local coffee brand with a premium but affordable concept, already had a strong customer base in South Korea. Their strategy was simple yet effective: provide high quality without breaking the bank. But everything changed at the end of 2023. In December of that year, when Taehyung was officially announced as their ambassador, Compose Coffee's trajectory took off. Its popularity skyrocketed. Their stores were packed with customers. Their name began to be heard far beyond Seoul. What's interesting? All of this happened even while Taehyung was serving his mandatory military service. Without fan meetings. Without major events. Without a regular promotional schedule. Yet the effect? Explosive. The brand still saw significant increases in sales, exposure, and media influence. This is the clearest evidence of what ARMY often refers to as the V effect. Then came a fact that made this story even bigger. Compose Coffee was acquired by Jollibee Foods Corporation in 2024. The Philippine F&B giant saw tremendous potential in the brand, and, of course, in the figure of Taehyung standing before them. Through its subsidiary Fresh and Famous Foods Incorporated, Jollibee signed a master franchise agreement to bring Compose Coffee to the Philippines. This was not a short-term project or a trial run, but a very serious long-term investment. Joseph Tanbunching, CEO of Jollibee Group Philippines, openly expressed his enthusiasm. For him, bringing Compose Coffee not only strengthens their portfolio but also presents a huge opportunity to penetrate the rapidly growing coffee and tea segment. Their vision is clear: to make high-quality coffee accessible to more Filipinos. However, behind the business analysis, there is one trigger factor that cannot be ignored, a name that is now known worldwide: Kim Taehyung. As soon as news of this international franchise spread, social media exploded. Hashtags related to Taehyung and Compose Coffee began trending. Filipino fans, known as one of the largest and most dedicated ARMY communities in the world, welcomed it like a festival. Many wrote, "V is bringing a local Korean brand to the global market, that's power." Simple, yet meaningful. And this isn't the first time. Almost every brand that has collaborated with Taehyung has seen a surge, whether in website traffic, increased sales, or new branches. Even international marketing analysts often note that BTS members, including Taehyung, have a conversion rate that few celebrities can match. Now imagine the following scene: the first day of Compose Coffee's opening in the Philippines. Outside the store, a long line snakes around the block. Inside, Taehyung-themed decorations adorn the walls. Special merchandise may be prepared. Fans take photos, buy Taehyung's favorite drinks, and turn the store into a new hotspot for K-pop fans. This isn't just a store opening, it's a portrait of how pop culture drives the real economy. This trend also paints a broader picture. The culinary industry and the entertainment industry are now in an increasingly close relationship. Music, drama, food, fashion, all move as one big wave called the Hallyu wave. And Jollibee's decision to choose a brand starring Taehyung is proof that large companies are now daring to make decisions based on cultural power, not just statistics. It's no surprise that after the Philippines, fans began speculating, which country next? Indonesia, home to the largest ARMY in Southeast Asia? Thailand, which has always been a premium market for Korean products? Or a direct leap to the United States? In the end, this story isn't just about coffee. It's about how pop culture bridges nations. How fan love can have an economic impact. How one decision, making Taehyung an ambassador, can change the course of a company and open the door to the international stage. Following the announcement of the first franchise in the Philippines, global industry observers began to notice something much bigger: the long-term impact of the Taehyung phenomenon on international business dynamics. Many analysts began to ask, is this just brand luck, or is it a sign of a new wave in global marketing strategy? A few days after the news broke, internal reports from several market research companies began to circulate. They revealed that since Taehyung joined as an ambassador, global interest in Korean brands, especially lifestyle and F&B brands, has seen a consistent increase. Not only did Compose Coffee receive extraordinary attention, but other brands associated with Taehyung also enjoyed the domino effect. This is what some analysts have begun to refer to as cultural economic acceleration, a phenomenon in which pop culture figures significantly drive cross-border economic growth. And what makes it even more interesting is how companies in Southeast Asia are beginning to study this pattern. Many of them, who were previously hesitant to rely on K-pop figures, are now realizing that this kind of strategy is not just a gimmick, but a real business tool that can accelerate brand expansion on an international scale. Some are even seriously monitoring the steps taken by Compose Coffee and Jollibee as a case study. Quite a few companies in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand are beginning to prepare for similar collaborations. Rumors about local companies considering Korean brands, especially those with ties to BTS members, have begun circulating in business circles. Some have even started internal discussions, considering whether they can leverage the Taehyung phenomenon to expand their ASEAN market. Meanwhile, the impact in the Philippines is already visible even before the first store opens. Online searches for Compose Coffee have surged. Filipino media began to publish regular reports. Even local culinary blogs discussed Compose Coffee's popular menus in South Korea. In fact, the physical outlet was not even operational yet. All of this was just a prologue to a bigger impact, a glimpse of how much public attention was focused on brands associated with Taehyung. And of course, ARMY in various countries began to make their own moves. Fan sites in the Philippines began planning opening events. The Indonesian ARMY community, known for being creative and active, began expressing their hopes that Indonesia would be the next country on Compose Coffee's international expansion list. Timeline X, Twitter, and Instagram were filled with discussions about Taehyung's favorite menu items, Compose Coffee's interior design, and predictions about how the concept of the first outlet in the Philippines would be adapted to the idol's vibe. Interestingly, some Korean fans have also responded. They say that this expansion is not only an achievement for the brand, but also a source of national pride. This is because, for the first time, a local coffee brand that does not belong to a large conglomerate has successfully penetrated the international market, and all of this was triggered by the power of an idol. The conversation has grown even further. Many have begun to speculate. What if Taehyung, after returning from mandatory military service, attends the opening of Compose Coffee's first international outlet? What if he releases a new global campaign? Or even collaborates on a special menu for the international market? Such speculation may sound like a dream, but looking at Taehyung's track record, nothing is impossible. Every step he takes leaves a mark. Every project he undertakes creates a phenomenon. And every brand that works with him experiences significant change. At this point, one thing is becoming increasingly clear: Compose Coffee's expansion is not just a business move, it is a tangible demonstration of how pop culture influence can shift the direction of the global economy. It is proof that an artist can create an economic impact equivalent to that of a giant corporation. That the power of fans can move the market. And that one name, Kim Taehyung, can connect Seoul, Manila, and all of Southeast Asia in one grand movement. And the most thrilling part? This wave hasn't reached its peak yet. There are still many chapters yet to be written. There are still many countries waiting. There are still many brands watching from afar. One decision has set the wheels in motion. Now, the world is simply waiting to see which direction those wheels will turn next.